is Motherboard at Snake Mountain, overseeing the evil plot of Hordak as they diabolically twist the dialogue of who was once Keldor, the half-brother of Randor, who became Skeletor, is now in the ignorance of He-Man and the Kingdom, pretending to be the long-lost brother, but is actually Skeletor in disguise. Skeletek is reviewing, and who would be known as King Keldor.
Super Dave here with another Super Dave review. Super Dave here with another exciting Masters of the Universe, Masterverse Revolution action figure. Actually, we're going to be looking at two. That's right. We're going to be looking at Keldor. Just look at that awesome action figure. First time ever getting this particular action figure in this form that was based on the Netflix Revolution series from Mattel. And King Keldor, as we knew going into this, was King Randor's half-brother, born of King Myro, who is King Randor and Keldor's dad. And King Keldor, his mom, was a Gar woman on an island that King Myro visited at some point in travels. But anyway, in the series, they pretend as though He-Man and King Randor don't know what has happened. Or, well, King Randor has actually died at that point, but they pretend like basically that nobody in the kingdom knows what happened to Keldor. But we know, and of course is revealed through Hordak and everything that's going on, that King Keldor is actually Skeletor. He became Skeletor when all of that happened. There's various backstories. But there is that bio if you want to pause and read that. You can see the other selling points down here at the bottom, which we have reviewed. But let's go ahead and take a look. Look at that. There's you see King Randor, Queen Marlena. There you have Motherboard back there, who is a huge part in the series. But he is looking great. So this is the first time we've got this action figure as a King Keldor. I really like the way he turned out. But let's go ahead and look at Skeletek's box, and then we're going to go over here and break them open and check them out. And I'm a little behind on reviewing this guy, but it's really cool to see him now in toy form, because I wasn't so sure I even wanted him, but after watching the series, I definitely wanted to get him, and I'm reviewing him along with King Keldor because they were so closely related. And you can see the box here, everything that he represents there, the artwork on the back, or at least there's the product shot supposedly. You can also see there his little bio if you want to pause and read that. And then you see the other selling points that was in that wave with him. And there's another awesome shot there that you can see, just looking amazing there on the end. Wow, looking cool. So we're going to go ahead and get Skeletek out of the package as well with Keldor, and let's go ahead and check them out over here at Snake Mountain. And first, taking a look at King Keldor's accessories. He comes with two sets of hands, two horizontally hinged weapon holding hands, as well as two balled up fisted hands. You see, he comes with a second head sculpt, complete with crown, regular just stoic face with crown on head, as well as another head, kind of a angry looking or serious looking, maybe is a better word to describe it, without the crown. You see, he comes with that cape with the fuzz, the fur around, soft goods cape with the fur around the collar, and that is removable with the stretchy bands like we saw with our Evil Lyn, our Bat Evil Lyn back there. But yes, and you see he is really decked out. He looks really cool. awesome looking Keldor. And then Skeletek, he comes with very few accessories. He's pretty much just decked out with some awesome looking equipment on him already. But he does have his left hand, balled up fisted hand, which is horizontally hinged, as well as a weapon holding hand that is horizontally hinged. And he comes, instead of with a second head sculpt, with a attachable gold crown. Because we know from the story now, and we knew it going into the series, but these are one and the same. But they supposedly take advantage of the ignorance of all those in Eternia, whether they have forgotten because of a spell that Hordak put on them or whatever, I don't know. But I definitely know he put a spell on Skeletor because he didn't even know, according to this saga that we watched unfold in the Netflix series of Masters of the Universe Revolution. But we do see a cool little plot twist that goes along with this, which I thought was enjoyable, and these are one and the same. And we saw in the cartoon that Skeletor basically had a glitch, and when his eye turned red, and you can kind of see his eye up in there, it's kind of more of a green color, the one eye that we can see under the hood, but it would glow red, and he would be able to realize, almost like a split personality, hey, I'm also Keldor, or at least I used to be. And awesome voiceover by William Shatner in the Revolution cartoon for King Keldor. So they're one and the same, but that's their accessories. Let's go ahead and look now at their articulation. To take a look at King Keldor's articulation, let's go ahead and take a look at this figure. He's looking pretty cool. He's able to look up a good amount. He is able to look down. He also has a tiny bit of head pivot. And of course, he'll be able to look side to side. The other head has the same style articulation. His arms are going to go out. T-pose. They will go 360. The bands are just going to have to be kind of manipulated and shifted a little bit. If you move the bands, you can see under there that he does not have a bicep swivel, and he has a single jointed elbow. So it looks like this is the second time in this wave they've gone to single jointed elbow. First with this Keldor, and we also already looked at our snout spout if you've not seen that video. And just like with snout spout, we have a rotation at the elbow with a single jointed elbow. So that's interesting. I guess it's to kind of keep the flow of the robe that he's wearing here. But he does have horizontally hinged wrists and swivel, of course. They're tight. He's got that gauntlet kind of like He-Man has there. He's going to be able to crunch forward about that much, bend back about that much. He has the ability to swivel side to side, so you're going to be able to get that hula hoop motion, really good range there, as well as a swivel at the waist. There is not a split here, but there is here in the front, so he's not going to be able to go out all the way for splits with his legs, but you will be able to kick forward about that much through the skirt split there, as well as get our double jointed knee there. That's really tight, but it'll happen. And then you have swivel, of course, at the boot, full tiptoes there. He'll go up almost all the way, and then has excellent rockers with the peg hole in the bottom. And if we bend the skirt up a little bit, you also will see that there is the drop down method for the legs. It's hard to see up in there, but it will drop down. As you can see, it's going down lower than this one, and then you can shift it back up. All right, so it has all of the articulation except for the double jointed elbows and that bicep swivel. So it's interesting. Of course, Snout Spout got the bicep swivel, but he did not get the double jointed elbows. So maybe going in that direction for some of these characters to help with the flow of the look of the aesthetics for the elbows Not sure how I feel about it. Some of you have already mentioned that you don't like it because of the limited articulation, and I tend to agree because I am also an articulation junkie. But here we go. That is Keldor. Now let's take a look at our Skeletek. Now this one is going to be a little bit more interesting in line with checking out his articulation because he's such a different type figure. For sure. I mean, definitely a different style figure. So to take a look at Skeletek's articulation, he's really not going to be able to look up too much, just a little bit. He is going to be able to look down a little bit, just not a whole lot of range right there. Very small range compared to other figures. He'll look side to side, but there's virtually no tilt, little bit, just a tad, but it's just everything's limited. That hood is not soft at all. It is very hard. I'm not really a big fan of this face. It doesn't look as good as the face looked in the animated series. I feel like it should have been, this whole head piece and skull and everything should just be a little larger, not huge, but just a little larger, so they could have brought out more of the details, show, you know, that green outlined laser eye there. It would have been nice if they had a way of where you could either switch out the eye to the red or give us a second head sculpt or something. But and even maybe even remove this hood. Just not a big fan. I mean, I liked it in the cartoon. I thought that the Skeletek, or you know, Skeletor that was in Revolution in his mechanized state looked pretty good, but I just don't like the toy version of it. It's okay, but it is lacking. Really like this chest. This is the kind of chest that the He-Man should have gotten. He's even got the nipples, the big pectorals. See the always cleavage there. But you have a really nice thick chest, and I wish they had given at least that style of upper chest to He-Man. That would have been nice. Maybe it would have, you know, hindered a little bit with the harness and the battle armor, you know, in that last incarnation. He did have a little bit larger chest and definitely had bigger traps even than what this Skeletek has. But of course he'll go all the way around. He'll get the T-pose with this arm, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. So we still have double jointed elbows here. He has horizontally hinged, like almost mechanical type hands and swivel, and they, you know, kind of claw like, so the longer fingers or fingernails or whatever. And has some of the laser, you know, the motherboard life running through, or the technology, the holy sprocket, whatever, running through that gauntlet. And especially right here, you have this big light type paint on job. It's not really lit, but it is mighty bright, so it'll kind of almost look lit in the right lighting. And then again, you have the motherboard electrical things going through this arm. This arm is a bendy arm, like a rubber bendy arm, like a bendy toy. It has that bendable wire inside there, and it's real thick, so you're going to be able to bend it up a good amount, like so that you can get it horizontal and, you know, perpendicular with the floor, or you can have it bend all the way down to hang to his side. You see these big red pieces, and all this looks just like the cartoon for the most part. This formed out of the manipulation of his mechanical body. Then you have another articulation there at the mouth of his Havoc staff, the ram head, and it will swivel side to side, so you can turn it that way or turn it that way, all the way around really. And there's no real pivoting there, but he does have, again, the ability to open that mouth. So just having it a little bit open kind of gives it a better look, I think. But that's cool. They could shoot stuff from that. So that's neat. It's like a manipulation of his arm mutating with the Havoc staff. And there you go. But it will go up. This is going to hinder it. This big, giant shoulder armor there, but it will go up. There is a ball joint under there. You just have to kind of lift it up, but it's not going to get the T-pose like the other side. He's going to be able to crunch forward about that much. He's going to be able to bend back about that much. He also gets the nice fluid turning motion at the diaphragm as well as at the waist, which is hidden by this collar part that's on the skirt or the tunic or whatever you want to call it that flows down here, this skirt looking thing. He does have thigh rotation up there. He's got single jointed knees, but this is a giant hinged knee, will hyperextend outward because of that giant ball joint. Still has the ability to do a boot cut, even though there's not a boot present, but it just kind of oddly breaks right there. But you know, they're staying consistent, I guess, except for with our double jointed elbows. But and by the way, this arm will go all the way around. I forgot to mention that. But there's not really a drop down method that I could feel. Yeah, it is. It is there. I couldn't feel it. It's so thick underneath there, but it is there. You can push it up and it'll drop down a little bit. So there is still a drop down method with those legs, but very different style legs. And they'll kick up pretty good amount. They'll kick up a really good amount there, as you can see. And they'll go apart quite a bit, but not all the way splits because of the skirt, which is pretty typical with something like this, having all that. And it is pretty flexible and rubber and soft, but still it's not going to go all the way. But that's pretty typical with a tunic or skirt like this. You can see the back there, mechanical parts there. Going into the feet, he'll go full tiptoes. Matter of fact, always hyperextend there too. Go all the way up. And let's see if we get rocker joints. Yeah, we actually get rocker joints. Excellent rocker joints. And there's still a peg hole in the bottom of these mechanical fork-like feet. Metal-looking feet. They're not metal, they're plastic, but they certainly look metal. So that's cool. And the way that it has the two-tone gray, you have the more metallic type gray, almost a bluish gray up here, almost a lavender type gray tint there, and then another darker gunmetal almost to the feet. So it's neat how they, gave us a contrast there overall here with this Skeletek. Really cool, looking neat. If you're into this figure, he is really different, really special and unique as a Masterverse figure and as a Motu figure, but he's very specific to that series. So if you're really into Revolution or even the whole Netflix series and that's your vibe, then you're going to really enjoy this figure. I'm not that crazy about him because I'm just not, other than I like him because he was in the show. In my Motu world, my Masterverse, my Motu universe, I'm just not that, I'm not going to build on this character that much, but I'm glad to have him in my collection, I guess, just to, especially since I've seen the episode. All right. And while we're here up close, I'll go ahead and bring the crown in here, this little crown, and it will slide right over top of our Skeletek's head dress there. So maybe that's one of the reasons why they made his head so tiny, especially at the top here, not giving a lot of room to show details in the face, is because they got to figure out a way to squeeze on that that crown without it looking too much larger than the one on King Keldor's head here. You can see I've put on that head with the crown. So it's pretty much the same crown, other than this one's a little bit lighter colored. Even the jewel is not painted, where it is painted here almost a gold, orangish gold color, like a gem is in there, whereas this gem went unpainted. This one's a little darker, almost more of a gold color in this lighting, whereas this is a little brighter, shinier, more polished looking gold here, if you will. But this one is non-removable, and he has a little bit of a grin, smirk going on here. But this way, instead of giving us two heads, they gave us a removable crown. Because yes, Skeletor did make an appearance with the crown on his head at Snake Mountain. But this guy pretty much, wore his crown sometime. He wasn't big on titles, he said, or he was pretending anyway. Down deep, he wanted to be the king and rule Eternia, even though that was ultimately Hordak's goal. Breaking news. Coming very soon, the Hordak from the Revolution series will be reviewed. Stay tuned. And Skeletor is really just Hordak's pawn in the series, or will he be? He's definitely not happy about that once he kind of wakes up and realizes, yeah, he did used to be Keldor, and this is what happened to him. But anyway, it's overall a very cool gimmick, pretty cool plot, and these two are the same person. So you kind of see him looking in the mirror. Instead of him seeing the reflection of this, you see him seeing this. And then sometime this character even follows him around in almost like a ghost form, almost like the form like you saw in Star Wars once the Force had left them, and they show up almost like a holographic looking ghost in the background. That's kind of the way this guy followed Skeletor around near the end when he realized all of that. So it's just an interesting, like I said, gimmick and side feature. So you have these two together, back to back, posed together, whatever, it works. All right, let's do some comparisons. All right, so here is our classics, Motu Classics Keldor alongside of our Masterverse Revolution Keldor, or King Keldor, I should say. So obviously this guy was never king. That was not part of the plot or the storyline. Obviously he could have been king if King Randor died in that sense, but that was never part of the plot that we saw played out in either the Mike Young production. Really didn't really hint at that much considering him being king or anything, but we definitely see that as a major plot in Revolution here. So you see him, he's still blue, but he's not as dark of a blue as our Classics Keldor. This is almost the same color as our Skeletor, Classic Skeletor, at least the original one, I guess, or the Ultimates one, that bright blue or brighter blue, whereas this is definitely a lighter blue. And then you see again Skeletek alongside our Revelation Skeletor. Now that is a Hordak MX head sculpt that I have attached to that Revelation Skeletor, and that's Plundar's axe, or it came with the Classics Plundar, but that is actually Skeletor's axe, but it didn't come with that. All right, and there's Filmation Skeletor, and then there is the 2022, the San Diego Comic-Con 2-pack that came with the He-Man and Skeletor. He was really cool with the movable jaw and definitely looks more like the Classics. Love this figure with the articulation improvements, and just the aesthetics of his buck is much better than the body that we get with most Masterverse figures. You see the skin tone differences too and all of these. All right, so there you have it. Just a few comparisons, and we have enjoyed you being with us again today for this Super Dave review, so come back and see us soon. I do have Wave 13 on the way. Looking forward to seeing that Leech character and even Thunder Punch He-Man. Yes, we're going to look at that wave as soon as it gets here. Looking forward to that review, but take care, be blessed, and here's some photos in the photo gallery.